Wait, who is it?
Hello and welcome to episode 136 of the Power of Pod.
Whoa.
Leaving that awkward pause, staring at Mark, waiting for him to
Leave
crack.
that in. I didn't know. I forgot. I was like, did I recommend this film? Or did Alan recommend this film? I think it was on.
That's right. Our recommended episode for this episode is
what?
All That Jazz, directed by Bob Fosse?
Bob Fosse.
Bob Fosse?
Isn't he the guy who went missing in like the jungle like 10 years ago? Or is that him?
No.
Is that a different guy? No.
Yeah, I think that Bob Fosse died in like the 80s, so I don't
okay.
think they were missing in the
There was
jungle.
some guy called Fosse who went missing in the jungle in like 2012.
Went missing in the jungle.
He was like an adventurer, but he was also like a media personality. I don't know. I'll look it up. We'll pull that up.
We'll actually talk about that instead of all
We
that
can talk
jazz.
about that, yeah.
Yeah, recommended film is 1974 is what I'm going to throw. We'll fast check that later on, but I'm going to go out and say
That's not true.
It's not. It's sometimes like the 70s or 80s. Stars. Oh, I keep wanting to say Rob Schneider, but it's not Rob Schneider. Roy Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
We are fucking not even 2 minutes in, and this is off to a fucking
This
train
is a
wreck.
comedy of errors.
I don't know what fucking. I don't even know what that film is about.
We're all over the place. I actually haven't watched this film.
I know, because my mom was like to me, I was like, oh, do you want to watch All That Jazz? And she was like, yeah. That, like, 'cause my mom's always wanted to watch the film. We sat down and I was like, yeah, I think Rob Schneider's in this movie. And then as soon as I said that, I was like, no, that's not right. There's no way it's Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider in All That Jazz.
That's jazz. Yeah, no, it's Roy Schneider who died apparently in 2008.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad was like, oh, he was in something the other year. I was like, don't think he was, Dad. Don't think he was.
He's been dead for 15 years.
Don't think he wasn't. Oh,
Rob Schneider. What age was Rob Schneider? He was 15 years old. That would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting. 15 years old.
But yeah.
He was great in Jaws when he was like -4.
Yeah.
What else is Rob Schneider? What else is Roy Schneider in?
He's in.
Because all I know him from is Jaws.
He's in loads of things. He's in Sorcerer, which I
Oh,
watched.
yeah.
The Dad movie by William Friedkin,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also in Jaws 2.
Yep.
And The French Connection.
Oh yeah. Is The French Connection meant to be good?
It's meant to be one of the greats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's also in Marathon Man, which I've never seen, and 2010, of course. Remember? He's the main character.
Was it
Yeah.
20, when you said 2010, I thought of 2012. I was like, no, I think he was dead before.
Came back. One last go. But yeah,
Have you
he's
seen
been a
that?
few things.
Have you seen that thing that's like, what's that really famous, like I'm gonna say teen heartthrob used to draw Dean.
What's his fucking name? Is it something Dean?
James Dean.
James Dean. How do we forget James Dean's name?
I don't think I've ever seen a James Dean movie.
Yeah, neither have I. I never have.
But apparently, the Dean estate has signed off his likeness and voice and everything for an AI to essentially make him into another movie.
Into another movie.
There will be a new James Dean movie coming out soon.
I feel like they missed the window for that to be an appealing thing.
Yeah, now I'm just like, oh, that's gonna be ghoulish and weird.
Well, we forgot what his name was.
True.
It's like, who's gonna watch that movie? Like, it'll
Yeah, is there any living James Dean fans still?
yeah. Like he's an icon still, in the same way like Steve McQueen is an icon. But like most people under.
Oh wait, is this Steve McQueen? No, I think it's James Dean.
Yeah. But like that's the thing. Like most people under 50 wouldn't be familiar with them, or under 40 maybe wouldn't have really any idea who they are, or not who they are, as in wouldn't know their stuff. I feel like it's a bit late to that.
Who's Steve McQueen? Maybe it's Steve McQueen. I'm thinking
Steve McQueen is he was like the kind of
who's the one that died in the car crash?
James Dean, yeah.
Okay, then I think it's James Dean.
He's been dead for 70 years.
Okay, but do you know they just said anyone under the age of 40? I think you need to push that number even up higher.
It sounds ridiculous. He's been dead for 70 years.
Why is he why is it just because he was such a tragic case?
Yeah, and he's really cool. And also, apparently, he was in Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden. Those apparently are like classics. Right. Yeah, great movies, which I've never seen. And yeah, he had that kind of he was the rebel without a cause, like literally, like just like I don't know. He looked really sad all the time,
moody.
Yeah, he was like Elvis, but like
but an actor.
Yeah, and more kind of angry and whatever. I don't think he's more apathetic, I suppose. I don't know.
More angst.
But yeah, he died at 24.
In
shit! In a car crash, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like he wasn't old. Like that's the thing. He was tragic death.
Okay, fair enough.
But he's been dead for 70 years. It's kind of, it'd be like. It'd be like someone making, or I suppose Michael Jackson's not a good example, but think of it.
Do that in a
heartbeat. But 70 years in 2080, are people gonna be going to lining up to see Michael Jackson movies? Maybe. But if you think of maybe less, I think Michael Jackson is more iconic than James Dean.
Yeah.
You think of Heath Ledger, for example. You think of, are people going to be lining up to see a Heath Ledger sequel to The Dark Knight in 2088? It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Drew's like, is there any like incredibly young, like incredibly iconic?
River Phoenix.
Yeah, River Phoenix popped in my head.
Yeah, in 2070, not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not going to happen.
Yeah,
that is really weird though. I they must be short on cash or something.
Like,
I wouldn't do that to my granddad. I wouldn't.
But even as like I remember seeing it was some like TikTok or whatever being like, oh, here's all the announcements to all these new movies they were getting, and every single one that they talked about was either a reboot or a sequel. Every single one of them, I was like, how are you excited for this? How are you excited for any of this?
Yeah. I feel like there is a real fatigue around those things, though, isn't there?
Yeah, I feel so.
I don't know anyone in real life who talks about them anymore. Whereas before, it used to just come up in conversation, or people would talk about it when they came out. Like a few Marvel movies came out last 12 months. I haven't heard anything about them.
Nope. I think Marvel is like basically.
I think it's dead. It's a zombie thing because it's still going, still making a bit of money, but like it's not a cultural kind of touchstone at all. Like actors just sign onto it and they get a lot of money, but it's more like conscription. It's like they just go off to do their service and then they come back and
put in your time.
Yeah, and then they come back and make a real movie, and people actually watch. People might watch that if it's good. So yeah, it's kind of blended back into it's like an atmospheric ambience rather than anything that people are actually focused on in any kind of way.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, because we were just talking before the podcast about, I want to say Mad Max Furiosa, but it's not called that. It's called Furiosa, a Mad Max
saga, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or anthology?
It's something weird like that. It's like, it doesn't make sense given the fact that it's one movie.
Yeah. But regardless, because I don't think they ever make, if they're going to make more, probably not. Probably this is the only maybe a Mad Max saga, Mad Max anthology. Anyway, I think part of the reason why, like, I'm looking forward to that film, but part of me is like it's a prequel, and like in the trailers they're showing like Immortan Joe and like all the other like crazy like warlords that were in Mad Max, and I'm like, well, I don't really care because like I don't know why you're showing me these, because this is actually lessening my hype, because I know for a fact that none of these characters are gonna die because they're in the movie that takes place 20 years afterwards.
Yeah. Is it the same chap playing Immortan Joe?
I think so.
Is it? It's weird.
Maybe.
But he was in the first Mad Max as a young man. But like, I'd be more optimistic about Furiosa because it's George Miller making it.
Yeah.
Because he actually, he doesn't make a film unless he cares about it. It's been 10 years since Mad Max came out. 10 years. Long time.
Did it take 10 years to make this movie?
Yeah.
I think I remember. I think when we started this podcast, we were like, "Oh yeah, they're starting to shoot it now."
Yeah,
that was fucking 3 years ago.
Yeah, because Mad Max itself started shooting in 2011 or something like that. So yeah, he would have started shooting it around. I think it was delayed because of COVID, and then he got back into it. But I don't think he'd make a film if he wasn't into it.
Yeah, look at Happy Feet.
Yeah, Happy Feet too. He also made that as well. But I don't know. Like it is a bit strange, and it's like prequels themselves. It's kind of, like in some cases they make sense, but it's like it's a prequel to a film that was a sequel. That was it was the fourth film.
Yeah.
So it's like we're not really telling a story that we haven't seen before. It's going back to a timeline that we've already been in, and seeing a different story from a different perspective, and just kind of, I don't know, retelling it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be really amazing. I've heard it's not as good as Mad Max, but George Miller gets a little.
He gets a pass.
He gets a pass, but yeah, in general, there is a big stagnation.
Is there really?
For all those things.
Okay, what's the best prequel?
The best prequel.
In my mind,
Prometheus.
My mind jumped straight to Prometheus.
Yeah.
But even at that, I'm like, that's like a prequel, but like it's like
nearly a different.
Yeah, it's like not really at all.
Different thing altogether. Which is, I think that's the best. That's what a prequel kind of should be. You know,
Star Wars.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yes,
that's a really good prequel as well.
It's a very good prequel.
Yeah. That's just the kind of the catharsis you get when Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader. The world still isn't ready for Prometheus. I've noticed. Usually when we come out in support of something, a few months later the world suddenly accepts it. We came out in support of Prometheus 2-3 years ago. The world still kind of just.
Bro, I think it was last year.
I don't know, man.
Or the year before.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was.
I feel like it would have come up pretty early because we've always been big Prometheus apologists. But the world still isn't ready. People still snub their nose at that. Eventually they'll come to appreciate it.
I was like, oh shit! Now I see that they were right.
Yeah.
By they mean us.
But there's definitely a better example. Definitely a better example of a good prequel. But they're not really out there. And the ones that are being made now, it is kind of just like a cash grab. That's
it as well. Because like a lot of I think it's just inherently. Although Furiosa, like it is a prequel. I don't know what the film is about. I know it's about Furiosa, and like there's probably, I don't know, maybe just the fact that like I'm like, well, she's not going to be in any danger.
Yeah. Well, she might lose her arm.
She probably will.
Yeah.
Although I think
actually, I imagine she will.
I think in the trailer she already has lost her arm. So
okay,
like
the tension's gone.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna be fine. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think with Darth Vader it's slightly different because like, oh, that young boy is gonna become evil. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it's way more impactful as well. Because like, I wasn't like Furiosa was cool, but Mad Max is like, I don't know. He's pretty cool as well. Yeah. There's something about the mythology there. I think Tom Hardy was very good as Mad Max as well. I kind of would prefer to see an extension of that story.
Have you ever seen the conspiracy around that?
Around
like Tom Hardy like as Mad Max?
No.
So Mad Max Fury Road takes place like 25 years after the third Mad Max movie.
Does it? 25 years?
Yeah, something like that. And the Mad Max, so at the end of it goes Road Warrior and Thunderdome.
Yeah.
So whichever one is the last one, I think it's Thunderdome is the last one.
Yeah.
Max loses his car at the end of that one, and he doesn't have his car. And at the start of Fury Road, he has his car.
Yeah.
So there's a conspiracy that Tom Hardy isn't actually Mad Max from the original movies. There's a young boy in one of them.
Thunderdome, yeah.
Maybe it's Thunderdome.
Yeah. He's really annoying as well.
Road Warrior is the second one. Yeah. So in Thunderdome there's that little boy, and his people are the ones that have the car. And apparently Tom Hardy has like a necklace or something that the little boy wore. So the conspiracy is that the little boy is actually him. And then at the end he's asked like, what's your name? He's like, Max. He just says Max because
Yeah.
he remembers this guy.
Yeah.
So that's a conspiracy. It's not actually.
That's a great conspiracy. That's
Yeah.
a great way to drive the series
It's
forward.
like a
as well.
mythical, mythical figure.
Yeah, it's like Batman. It's just like a mantle people take up.
Yeah.
The fact he doesn't talk as well. Like the film's really silent. It's such a great movie.
So good.
But the whole concept of such like a massive development on what Mad Max was as well. Like just like technically and visually, it's such an amazing movie.
Pure spectacle.
Yeah. But they could, maybe just keep developing that. Don't go sideways or backwards or anything like that. But
Mad Max gone woke. What can we say?
yeah, had to be a woman, didn't it?
When was it Mad Maxine? Huh?
Mad Maxine, yeah. Actually, I think I've seen that before. Yeah,
That's definitely a Twitter comment
it
somewhere
definitely
or a Reddit
is.
comment.
I've 100% seen that. Yeah.
Somewhere in the depths of the internet,
Yeah.
places that we do not venture into.
No. It's too depressing. Too sad. Too depressing.
Too sad. Too depressing. Much like Moneyball.
Yeah, kind of. Not really. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, kind of actually like
huh?
statistics is depressing.
Yeah, it's so boring. But
Depending on how you twist it. Depending on how you look at the statistics. Yeah. Oh yeah, Moneyball. I watched this. You rewatched this.
Yeah.
I have no idea why this was on my watch list for so long. I was like, looks kind of interesting. I heard like it's pretty good. And then the other night, me and Melissa's flicking through Netflix, doing that endless scroll. I think we all know it.
Oh yeah.
Just flicking through, like I don't know what to watch. And I was like, do you want to watch Moneyball? Because Melissa had said like, I want something that's like Air.
Like Air.
That Nike Jordan shoe movie from last year.
All right. I didn't see that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we can watch Moneyball. It's about statistics. And she's like, I was like, it's about baseball. I was like, no, remember, it's been really interesting. It's about like how they use statistics to change the game. She's like, sure, fine. And we watched it and she's like, yeah, pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I have to say, I definitely think I enjoyed this movie more because like this movie did two things. One, it made me care about baseball. Don't care about baseball. Two, it made me care about statistics. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
Name one statistic you care about.
Yeah, like you can't care about a number, like that's the whole thing. But and then sports, it's like the opposite. It's like you don't care, like you care so much about this thing is completely intangible. So it's a nice kind of cool mix. But like it's not like it's not a movie where like whoa, it's just kind of interesting. It's an interesting kind of because it's like a biopic, basically.
Yeah.
Of Billy Bean. Which is a ridiculous name.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a real person is ridiculous. He can only be American. Billy Bean.
Billy Bean.
Billy Bean.
It was like, a bean is coming up, and Melissa's like, I was like, no, that's his actual name, I think.
Yeah, Billy Bean. I remember reading about it a long time ago, back when, because the whole thing is about Billy Bean with the Oakland A's, the Oakland Athletics baseball team, and they were shit basically. They were pretty shit. Or actually, no, they were all right, but
they were in the final of the series the year before.
But they were going to be completely.
Yeah,
shit.
they were losing their massive.
They were
players.
losing all their big guys. Don't know their names, but they're losing all of them. They're all going off as free agents. They couldn't even swap.
Giambi was one of them because they kept saying that name.
Giambi.
How are you gonna replace Giambi?
Giambi. How are you gonna replace that? He's got the chutzpah. But and they couldn't swap them for any players because they were just out of contract. Billy Bean was coming in. He was like, "What the fuck are we supposed to do here?" And they had a very limited budget. They only had $40 million. God bless them. And
How will they survive?
They couldn't. They actually couldn't compete. The amount of money in baseball is so ridiculous, considering it's not like it's popular in Japan and the US, and like that's it.
It's the same with all like American sports though. Like the NFL. Like no one gives a fuck about the NFL really, outside of America.
Except for those weirdos here, just random play.
I see people being like, "Oh, who got in the Super Bowl?" I was like, "I don't care."
Check
like
the hard drive. What's that?
Don't care.
Don't know, man. Having a breeze. Don't know what you're talking about. Down? Yeah. Something's down.
Something's up. Who's even in the Super Bowl this year? Can you take it?
Having a breeze.
I'm going to say the 49 Chargers and
the Buffalo Broncos.
Yeah.
Oh, is it the Denver Broncos? Your man.
That's the thing that fucking kills me about American sports, though.
Yeah.
The way that they change. It's like, oh yeah, Miami Heat are now going to be New York Heat. It's like, how does that work?
Yeah. Because I think it's like it's the same in NBA as well. I think they've moved around quite a few times. I think the Lakers always in LA. I think it's the Heat or something. One of the big teams that actually originally was somewhere else. It blew my mind when I found out about it because it's just weird. 'Cause, like, how would you have like who are your fans?
Yeah, who the fuck are your fans?
Like if you're Bose and you're like, all right, we're gonna move to Sligo. Why?
Yeah, who the no
Like,
one's following you.
Yeah, who's like, what happened to what about all your fans? It's weird. But anyway, the Oakland.
Did they then lose their fans, or do the city that they moved to just gain allegiance to them because they're good?
I suppose that's what happens. Like they must
Plastic fans, bro.
Yeah, a lot of bandwagoners. Because like, what if the team isn't good? You know, or what if
I guess they can only move if they're really good.
Yeah.
Like
It's like the lads in what is it? It's like there's the Denver Nuggets and stuff like that. It's just like shit teams, or they're probably not shit now. The NBA goes up and down, but they were shit a while ago, and they're just in Denver somewhere. It's like you can't really afford to move anywhere.
Yeah.
The Nuggets aren't got. The Nuggets probably haven't moved anywhere because they're not good enough,
Yeah.
or they weren't good enough back then. But no, yeah, the Oakland days, they were in the dumps. They couldn't sell their players. They couldn't swap their players. And Billy Beane needed a way to figure out, to make this all work, and to make, because he was the coach or something like that.
he was the general manager.
General manager, yeah. He was general manager. And he had to manage all the different, like the scouting team and the coach. And there was a manager as well. Can't remember his name. But they're all there.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, that's what his name was.
Yeah, they're all competing against each other. And they're all like competing interests, competing philosophies. And Billy Beans is just like, we need to cut through the shit, find the numbers, find the underlying numbers, the data behind this. He goes to your man Brand, Jonah Hill, and
Who
he's
is
like
really good in this movie.
really, really good. Yeah, he's great. Like this was his golden era before he like completely destroyed himself. He just lost it. But he's really, really good in this movie. I think it's one of his first serious roles, and he's really good as like a statistician from like some big university or something.
He went to name big universities that aren't Harvard.
Stanford,
I think it was,
MIT.
I think it was Stanford.
Stanford, yeah. He was at a big university. Has this big brain box.
He was in the Redskins.
Yeah,
That's what it was
yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Which like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had to change their name.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know how to get
That
away with
logo, Jesus.
for so long. But it's like it's this weird kind of it's certainly like a buddy comedy. It's like this, you know, this big nerd basically with glasses, and he's like, I made this algorithm.
The numbers don't match up.
The algorithm tells us that this will be the outlay for the forthcoming season. And then there's like Brad Pitt as Billy Beane, be like, speak English, dude, not science. It's just like this weird kind of it's a funny kind of like, it's a nice little dynamic they have going. And they use this technique, sabermetrics, which is basically finding the key performance indicators underlying a player's performance that can show players that might be undervalued. So values of a player were kind of determined based on scouts. What scouts kind of the vibes they had.
Being like, we see massive potential.
Yeah. Like we have a feel this guy's gonna be good. We can see like the very basic numbers of like, you know, whatever his like batting average and stuff like that. And like, this is good. Let's take him in. But this guy Brand and like the sabermetric technique, that whole model became known. The Moneyball model was able to like look underneath the hood and see all the different indicators which would show them towards players who were undervalued and which they could take on and which they could kind of use to outperform their kind of financial capabilities. And you know, the whole, you know, the story goes on, and the Oakland days are like, first of all, there's huge tension with the scouts and the management team.
You're ruining the beloved sport. This thing is an art, it's not a science.
Yeah, this isn't science, kid. You know, it's very, you know, competing. It's the old guard versus the young up and coming kind of like data driven.
Data ruins everything, bro. This movie's all.
yeah. Like, I don't know. But there's that tension there, and for the first few games, it's not working at all. And but after a while, they kind of they switch around the team. Like Billy Bean steps in, switches around
He
the
just
team.
fires some people that they can't.
Yeah,
Like, you need to play this player now, and the coach is like, don't tell me how to manage the team. And so he plays it in different order, and they keep losing. So Billy Bean steps in and is like, right, well, I'm after selling these players, so now you're going to have to play it my way.
He like twists his arms. Like, you have to play these players. And you have to play the system that basically I've set up. And all of a sudden it starts working. They go on a 20 game streak. It's like the longest winning streak in the history of the division or whatever. And they end up like going all the way to the top. And then they lose. But there's like this whole thing. But there's this whole thing at the end where the owner of the Boston Red Sox comes in and offers Billy Bean, which is still a ridiculous name, offers Billy Bean $12 million a year to come be the general manager of the Red Sox. And the Red Sox at the time, this is all like a completely true story. The Red Sox at the time had been cursed for 50 years. There was this whole thing where they were cursed. They'd won in the 60s, I think. They'd won the whatever the fuck it is, the baseball,
the
Super
World
Bowl.
Series.
The World Series, exactly. Yeah, they'd won it in like the 60s or the 50s or something like that. And something had happened, and for like decades after that, all the Bostonians thought they were cursed because something would always happen that would stop them from getting back to the top. And John Henry bought them, I think, in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, this is just like this American investor. And he wanted to bring them back to the top, and he wanted to find new ways. He was in the position that Billy Bean was in at the start of the movie, where he has limited resources in the sense that he's a billionaire who isn't as rich as the other billionaires in the league. And he wants to bring this this club that he loves, or this team that he loves, back to the top. And the only way to kind of do it within those parameters is to find someone who has has the key to unlocking. He's got the numbers. He's got the data.
He's got the code.
He's got the code.
He's got the code for that nuclear bomb.
He's got Jonah Hill. He's got everything. And he offers him $12 million. Billy Bean's like, he ends up turning it down. And then after, like, beyond the movie, the Red Sox win the 2004. 2 years
later.
Yeah. They win the 2004 World Series without him, just using the model that him and Brand, like Jonah Hill's character, had developed. And from then on, it's kind of been, that kind of marked the start of that kind of data-driven approach to the management of clubs and teams like that large a scale in like global sport nearly. Because then 6 years later, because I remember at the time, Liverpool nearly went bankrupt, and they were owned by a lot of American guys who were like really bad around the club. And this other guy comes in out of nowhere, and he's not that rich, so like everyone's kind of skeptical. This is John Henry was his name, but like he had this whole thing where he came in and like start reading about. There was like articles on like in like the Telegraph and like the Times and stuff like that about Moneyball and all. I remember reading about it at the time. And reading just the name Billy Bean still sticks out to me. It's like there's no way that's a real name.
It's like only an American could have the second name Bean.
Yeah, Billy. Like if your second name is Bean, why are you calling your son Billy? Like he's just not gonna get taken seriously.
He's gonna have to play baseball.
Like he had to like here he
comes Billy Bean's up to the bat.
He had to like you can hear it in like the old commentator's voice. He had to fight to get where he was, like to succeed, because like with that name, he's operating at a handicap.
Like offered no privileges whatsoever with that name.
Yeah, you can't show up to a business meeting. I'm Billy Bean. Everyone just burst out laughing. But yeah, I remember reading about it at the time, Moneyball and John Henry and the Red Sox, and the Oakland A's and Billy Bean, stuff like that. And then the movie came out around the same time. I didn't watch it for like a long time afterwards. But Liverpool actually started implementing that in the Premier League, and it'd been implemented by different clubs at like different countries at different periods of time, like around that time as well. But they like went all in on the model. Like they got rid of like the old model of the Premier League where you have like Alex Ferguson used to just have complete control over the club. Like he controlled everything. He controlled when the players ate, like their dietary plans, the coaching regime, the tactics on the game day, stuff like that. And your man John Henry came in and kind of like redeveloped the club or redeveloped Liverpool to a bit more of like an American model where they had like a director of football,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of used in Europe but wasn't used in England at all at the time. And it was met with a lot of skepticism because it was so strange, and because for the first 2 or 3 years it just didn't work at all. Like they were still shit. Like they bought all these players, were like, this is a Moneyball signing, like, you know, they come in for like 2 million or something like that. It would be like a tiny, like, paltry sum in football terms, and it get announced to the media and it'd be justified by like Liverpool journalists, and everyone would just be like, this is fucking, like, this guy is, you know, he looks shit, but we'll wait and see what the outcome's going to be. And then invariably they just all were terrible, like bad players. And the 2 seasons after that were rubbish. But one of the players was, for example, was like Luis Suarez. He was a Moneyball signing. He was bought based on data they'd collected from the Dutch league that showed that he was like he was already like very obviously a good player. But a lot of players are good in those leagues, but like don't translate over to the English league. But they had data which suggested that he would actually that he had what it takes to move
become
over.
Luis Suarez.
Yeah, to become what he is now, like to become like a proper, like a world class Premier League player. And then it was about 4 years after they bought the club that Liverpool like went from nearly being relegated to nearly winning the league. It was in 2013, 2014. They won nearly every single game. They battered every single team. They came within 2 points of winning. Gerrard slipped on the last day. It was like the most heartbreaking moment of all time.
See, he should have been sold. That
was the Moneyball kind of like ethos, where like if a player gets beyond 30 and their value starts to dip, there's like there's a point where their quality as a player, no matter how good they are, if their value is dipping, there's a point where you should definitely sell them. For example, Mo Salah is 32, I think 32 now. Like they'll sell him he'll be gone within a year, because he's too old and he's not going to get better. And it's that kind of thing where like you buy players in early kind of 20s and then give them a few years, hopefully they get better. No matter how good they get, you have to sell them after a few years, because it makes financial sense. So yeah, they went from like bottom of the barrel, being completely like dog shit, nearly bankrupt, to within 5 years nearly winning the league.
You're just describing Moneyball to me though, like the actual movie.
Yeah. And 10 years later, you know, they won the league, they won the Champions League, they won the World Cup, they'd won everything. It was all based initially on
They
that.
won the World Cup.
They won the Club World Cup, yeah.
Sorry.
But it was all based on that initial principle of Moneyball, which John Henry basically stole from Billy Beane.
Which got stolen off him.
Yeah, basically.
See, like the thing is, right, because like it's like, oh yeah, this is like used worldwide in every single sport. But like, to me, like watching Moneyball, I was like, okay, this makes sense for baseball, because in baseball they just throw the ball to you, and sometimes you can just walk, like without the throwing or whatever. You have to hit the ball and be able to run, and all you have to do, they keep saying this, all you have to do is get to base. Doesn't matter about anything else, just make it to base.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the philosophy of any other sport, so I don't understand how that works.
You just have to get it in the goal.
You just have to get it in the goal. How do you win the game? Just you gotta score goals.
Yeah.
So it works. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like to me, just like it makes way more sense in baseball, especially because baseball is so incredibly boring and slow and dull. That like that ethos makes so much sense. But then, like, for other sports, I'm like, these are just too chaotic. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is that maybe baseball was a good kind of platform for the technique to start, because it is so kind of static in terms of the percentages and things like that.
Man, who the fuck likes baseball?
Yeah. Like, I don't know what they get. Like, it's 4 hours just sitting there, but they sit there. It's like going to the bar, I think, because they just sit there. And they have loads of hot dogs, loads of drinks, and they just watch whatever. It's that kind of thing.
Because when you're watching football or anything like that, you're like, ooh shit, like anything could happen.
Yeah.
At any moment. This is just not the case with baseball. Like, oh shit, yeah, home run, cool.
Yeah.
That means 1 point.
Yeah, well, they can come back over the course of an hour. That's
such a boring drama.
Yeah. I suppose you probably have to get into it, but I don't think we could ever.
At least with like NFL, it's like, oh, this makes sense to me because it's huge dudes smashing into each other.
Yeah, it has that box office appeal.
Yeah, something like primordial about that. I'm like, oh yeah, fucking hit him. Where like baseball, I'm like, he caught the ball.
Yeah. But I'd say it's kind of like cricket, where cricket as it's usually played is extremely boring to watch. Literally nobody likes cricket except for the English, the Pakistanis and the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
No one else in the world. Well, kind of, not even Australians or New Zealanders really anymore.
Aussies, like, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not huge on it. Like, they prefer soccer and rugby and all.
Yeah.
Like, no one really likes watching it at all. But if you put it into T20 format or even a one-day international format, I'll always stand by this. It actually is fun to watch. It's like, like golf, for example. Golf is so fucking boring to watch. No one cares. No one really likes golf. It's just something to have on,
How did these sports make so much money?
I know, yeah, it is weird because you make like Rory McIlroy is a billionaire.
How?
He's a billionaire now.
Like, there has to be some amount of money laundering going into these sports.
Rory McIlroy is the richest person in Northern Ireland because he plays golf. Like, there has to be, yeah, there's definitely money. Because remember he went over to the, like, there's like a Saudi league they have going on as well now.
Yeah.
For golf. So what the fuck? There's no grass in Saudi Arabia. How are you playing
Just
golf?
all hitting into the fucking bunker. Every shot is straight to the bunker.
It's just bunker to bunker, yeah. Well, maybe that make it a bit more exciting or something. It's just like, they get really like, I don't know, like flustered or,
Yeah, I feel like,
I don't know.
like fucking
I've
Happy
never watched
Gilroy.
Yeah. But like golf, for example, in the Ryder Cup format of golf is exciting to watch, depending on.
Yeah, because every shot matters.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas when it's like over a week, I'm like, this shot doesn't. This shot could matter in like fucking 2 days time.
Yeah. This could have massive implications down the line. That's the most exciting it gets.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, because I think baseball is really predictable like that. I'd say golf and a lot of cricket and stuff like that, very predictable, very static sports. But at the time, like that kind of like data analysis field, sports science field, it was nowhere near as developed as it is now. Whereas now you have like, the amount of money that's every Premier League team has an army of data analysts in the background. Like you can see them when they pan the pitch side of every game. You see them there with their iPads, like watching in real time. Every player, you notice when they take their shirts off,
They have the yoke.
they have the little thing on tracking where they go, when they make the moves. They have like kind of automated tracking systems for like how many passes are made, what direction they're made, progressive passes. What are the chances of a goal being scored from this position on average across, the last 10 years of the league, stuff like that. Like the amount of insights that have been generated or that can be seen and kind of picked into these days is so much bigger that I think it narrows the kind of or it broadens the scope of something like Moneyball, where you can actually kind of predict things a bit more. But there is always that element of chaos, which is the good thing about those sports, where there's sometimes things will just happen. And you have the crowd as well. Like in a baseball like game, you're not going to get the crowd aren't going to rally their team. Like they might, but like they're going to need to do it for 4 or 5 hours straight. And it's not going to happen. Yeah.
Glenn.
Fight and win. Like it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Same in American football. There's no chanting and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, it's people making noise.
American football is like ever seen anything from American football like that? Like 6 hours off with that. But for like part of it is also like, these are these are athletes. Like holy, they are massive and they are running so fast and jumping so high. There's also crazy like strategies going on.
Yeah.
So like that point of I'm like, that's like interesting. It's like chess.
There's
and everyone is a knight.
Yeah, they're psyching each other out, and like when they go like they do the code thing where they tell their teammates what formation to. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like 42, 31. It's like, I have no idea what that meant, but that's cool.
Yeah, what does that mean? You can't do that in football. It's like illegal. It's like deceiving the opponent, but it's a good thing to have in a different kind of game where you're not constantly kind of moving all the time.
We used to have that in like rugby, where like we would have our lineouts. You would do like our thing was that like you would say like random letters. Yeah. But one of the letters would correspond to someone in the lineout.
Like how?
So like you'd be like because I played for Clontarf. So what we did was it was the front was CLONT AR. I think it's 6 in the line out. Yeah, 6. So you go like fucking teasing off, for example. You couldn't say any of the other ones, and if you did, it would be the first one that you said. So it'd be like M C L2 4 whatever the fuck. I can't even do it. You can tell I wasn't on calling the lineouts. And then so you heard C, so you're like, okay, right, C is going to the front, and then you go, and then you move, and like oftentimes like it'll be up to the other team they'd have to react to you. Now the only thing is like with like lineouts and stuff like that, like you try and like fake and then run around and like pick up someone from the back or whatever, to try and get the other team to jump, and then the ball would go over and stuff like that. But like you watch like international rugby and stuff like that, that does not happen. They are like, I think it's just because when you're defending a lineout, they are so on watching the other team and seeing who's moving that like it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
But let me tell you, under 15s rugby, you can do that shit all day.
yeah. You're allowed to do that in rugby, isn't it? Yeah.
Because you're just making calls on the line out, so it's allowed.
Yeah, fair enough. You get a yellow card in football for like saying something like that.
Although maybe I also think that like, I feel like also in rugby though, you just walk up to the ball to the hooker and it's like, throw it to X. Like you just cover your mouth and say, just throw it to John or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't really know why we did that when you could have just told them beforehand.
It's intimidating.
I think possibly
it confuses the opponent.
Yeah, I think it does. It like psychs them out. But like,
oh,
where's the ball going?
Yeah, especially if you're good.
Yeah.
If you're bad, it just looks like
we got in trouble because we used to after matches we would do a little chant on the pitch, and we got in trouble for doing that.
What was the chant?
It was just like, oh, who are we? Who are we? We are the boys from the Clontarf Sea. And there used to be a little bit afterwards. I'm not going to say the whole thing because it's fucking cringe.
Nah, it's cute.
But, no, man, we have done this up until like 18. It was not cute. It was not cute. But we got in trouble for doing that because like, yous are being too mean.
Too mean
because we kept beating people and doing that.
Oh, you're good, yeah.
Yeah, we're too good and like just winning every match. It's like, stop doing this because you're just bullying the other teams at this stage.
You have to
rub it in their face a little bit.
Yeah, to be fair, like that never happened when we played football, but like most teams we played were terrible. So were we. So we never really like, we'd win a game, just be like,
good game, boys.
I just be like Jamie, like hard luck, lads. Like, you played really well. You know,
you play just slightly shitter than us.
Yeah, that's the only difference. So we didn't have any chance or anything.
Oh God, yeah. I'm so glad I don't play rugby anymore.
Would you not go back? No,
or not? Just couldn't be arsed.
Do you not like rugby? No.
Like for I don't know. Like for me, it's like say two things. One, I can't be arsed dedicating that much time to something.
Yeah.
Can't be arsed. Two, I was just not a fan of the whole.
The culture, yeah, I know.
Not a part of that.
I know what you mean, yeah. 3,
I would not take it as serious as anyone else that would be on the team.
Are any of the people that you played with still playing?
Oh yeah, they play for like some of the people I play would play for like the firsts, like the
the
proper like Clontarf team
that
like go on to like the All Ireland finals and stuff like that, and like are playing with people and playing against people that play for Ireland and
that's mad.
Leinster and shit like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm looking at them like, fair fuck to you boys. Wouldn't be me. I'm not gay.
Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty cool though. You know.
Oh, I tell you. Speaking about gay, I saw Ryan Gosling in I saw what's the Fall Guy?
The Fall Guy. It's Ryan Gosling and
Emily Blunt.
And
that guy, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Ah, yes.
He's also in it. And I think that's it. I think it's like the most like known people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say there's most known people. I can't remember who else is in this. Have you seen the trailers to this movie? This movie's been out a while.
The trailer's the most annoying thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
So
I hated the trailers.
I saw those trailers like, that film looks like shit.
Yeah,
I was like, that film looks terrible. And then I was dragged to the cinema to go see it. And it started and I was like, starting off with a long one shot. Interesting. Like a full blown like one shot Ryan Gosling coming out of his trailer, his acting trailer, whatever, like walking through. He's there having conversations. The camera pans around. He's having more conversations. Follows him up as he goes up to a lift, and then he walks all the way to a stunt. And it's at that stage I was like, wait a second, this is about in one take. Hold on a second. And then
This is Kino.
And then he like does the jump, and then accident ensues, and he breaks his back, and he can no longer be a stuntman. And this movie was surprising. This movie's actually like pretty good.
Oh,
Like
alright, yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not like amazing or anything like that, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some funny bits. There's a bit where like Ryan Gosling goes. I'm gonna talk about some negatives first before we talk about some positives.
Okay, yeah.
So you know the way I just mentioned, like, oh yeah, he broke his back.
Mm-hmm.
That literally plays into nothing else in the movie
He's out of commission as a stuntman. That's it.
for like 2 years or 5 years or however long it's been. And then he's back on the scene, and so he's a stuntman, right? And he's being asked, like, you need to go and you need to get the lead from this film, Aaron Taylor Johnson, because he's a little bollocks and we can't find him. So he goes off, and the first thing he needs to do is go to Aaron Taylor Johnson's drug dealer. And the drug dealer drugs him, and he's all like, ooh, and he's got this really cool, like, funky, like, colors, and like, as things progress, like when the fights kick off, he like punches people in the face, and like there's like sparkles and stuff like that. Looks really cool. But like, again, he's a stunt guy who broke his back and is brought to these like drug dealers, and he kicks the fucking shit out of them. Straight away I was like, okay, right. Why does a stuntman know how to like beat this shit? He's like an FBI agent. He's like Jason Bourne or something like that, taking these people out.
It's like dancing though, isn't it? It's being a stuntman. It's just like you have to be a dancer, basically. You know. Yeah,
you know how to fall right.
Yeah.
And like flip cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, that's really dangerous. But like, I don't know. Can a stuntman like really just beat the shit out of people? I don't know.
Jackie Chan maybe.
Jackie Chan could kick the shit out of you, but that thing about him like breaking his back has absolutely no bearing in the film whatsoever. At no stage does it come up outside of, oh yeah, you were out of commission for, like, it only ever comes up as being like, oh yeah, you were gone for a while.
Yeah.
But like it, like physically,
he's fine.
He's completely fine. And some of the shit he does in this movie, there's a bit where like he is he's like fighting a dude on a truck, and then it's like is it a bin truck or is it like does it have a skip on the back, something like that, and the skip like keels over, and they're still fighting, and then the skip like turns to the side as they're like barreling down the road, and he's still like fighting on the inside of the skip.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know why the fuck. I don't know why they had to say you broke your back, because it has absolutely no bearing on you whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, you are completely fine. But basically it is just like a kind of caper. It's like, oh, where's this guy? Oh, I found a dead body. Now the dead body's gone. Now I'm being framed. Now I need to. This is like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like just like fun, like
that sounds fun. Yeah.
Like, you know, action movie type of stuff. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling have like. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling have more chemistry than when Emily Blunt was in A Silent Place with her husband John Krasinski.
Yeah, but he's like so soulless.
Oh, he's so weird.
You know. I don't like him as an actor at all.
Yeah, there's something.
Or director.
There's something about John Krasinski. I don't know what it is.
Something about him. I don't like him. But Ryan Gosling generally has chemistry with.
I think Ryan Gosling is just like.
Doesn't he?
I think it's just like Ryan Gosling is just like a really likable dude. Maybe
he's just a good actor as well.
Yeah, he's a good actor and a likable dude. So probably that's why.
Yeah, probably.
Whereas like John Krasinski, I don't know John Krasinski. I don't know if he's a good dude. Nor is he a good actor.
Yeah, he's not a good actor. Yeah, but he's like. Yeah, you kind of get that like a weird vibe. He takes himself so seriously.
Way too seriously.
For a guy
that was in The Office.
He's just in The Office. Like that's his one thing really. Yeah. And he made A Quiet Place, which was like is kind of like completely fallen off compared to how it was initially received.
There's 3 of those movies.
Yeah, there's a third one came out recently, wasn't it?
I didn't hear it. I heard loads about A Silent Place 1. I never heard anything about Silent Place 2, and I have never heard a single person talk about Silent Place 3.
It's part of the gimmick.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. They actually had it on in McGrattan's on Baggot Street. I was there before, and they just had it on the TV. They had like a Silent Place 2, Cillian Murphy's in it.
Yeah.
And I had a Silent Place 2 or A Quiet Place. What am I talking about? A Quiet Place 2 on the TV, and I said to one of my mates, I was like, why are they playing A Quiet Place 2 in this loud bar at like 8:00 on a Saturday night, or something like that? I was talking about, oh look, like it's like the silent movies over there, And he was like, "What are you talking about? The deaf people? There was a party of deaf people sitting right underneath it, watching. Maybe that's why it was on.
Their representation.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But there's no sign language in the movie.
There's no sign language in the movie.
But I don't know. It was just randomly on the bar. That's the only time I've actually seen it, or seen parts of it anyway. I couldn't hear what was going on. Didn't need it probably. But
I don't think you're missing
I
anything.
didn't like the first one, so
Yeah.
I didn't really care.
But yeah, Emily Blunt's really good in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's always good and stuff. It's by the guy that did Bullet Train, which is a movie I talked about last year, which is a movie I was like, yeah, it's grand.
Yeah, everyone's like, this is...
Yeah.
There was a guy talking about... I was talking to my old job who was like, it's my favourite movie. I asked him what his favourite movie ever was. He was like, Bullet Train. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, what? I was like, I've never seen Bullet Train. But like, you know, what kind of answer is that?
Have you seen like
have you seen any other movies?
Have you seen anything else?
I was like, what's your favourite movie? I don't know why I asked it. I think he asked me or something. We were talking about like degrees or something. And he was like, yeah, my favourite movie is probably Bullet Train. Have you seen Bullet Train? I was just like, just had this weird look on my face. I couldn't get it off. What? Bullet Train.
What type of fucking NPC fucking answer is that?
Yeah.
That is a Netflix algorithm that you spoke to in real life.
Yeah. It is really strange. Yeah. Like some of his... We had a movie club as well, and sometimes he put recommendations into the chat. People just used to rip the piss out of him. Because he put this one in... It was this movie... I can't remember what it was called. It was like Pay It Forward, actually. I think it's the name.
I've never heard of that.
No one had ever heard of it. It's this movie from like 2000, starring Kevin Spacey, and it's about him like I don't know, like saving a dying child. He's played by Macaulay Culkin, and everyone just like ripped into him in the chat, call him a nonsense.
That's like,
and he was like, "This is one of the best movies I've ever watched." He said so. He's like, "This is this is a good watch for everybody." Really, really well worth the watch. It's not really, it's overlooked by everybody. It's one of the best movies I've seen. And everyone just turned around in the office when he put it in. What the fuck is this guy talking about? That's like 40% Rotten Tomatoes.
I know what our recommended film for this episode is.
It was just people going after him for recommending Kevin Spacey.
I do
movie.
not like that's like whenever someone asks me like what's your favorite film, I have to like scan through my brain. I'm like, okay, right. I'm just gonna be like, okay, so this is not my favorite movie of all time, but this is one of them, and I would always say Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is like one of my favorite movies. But that's like the entry level one. Then I'm like, okay, so my actual favorite movie is Eraserhead, is Possession, is like, you know, something fucked up.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just the one I should say all the time though. But
yeah, it's always a case of like sorting through. Like you're thinking of a movie, you're like, actually, that's amazing, but I don't think it's the most amazing movie I've ever seen.
I think what it is well is like my brain is like I'm doing like social like calculations. I do like fucking Moneyball in terms of like what this fucking movie.
What's the best tile? How will this land with the group?
Yeah. I was like how like they're gonna ask me what this is and I have to explain what the movie is. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. If you're asked by someone at work, it's just like Shrek 2, you know. Shrek 2.
Just fucking man.
Any situation, yeah.
Someone asked me in like work, like in CX, being like, "Oh yeah, you're really into movies. What's your favorite movie?" I'm like, Shrek 2. Just I'm not answering this question properly.
Yeah.
It's one of them, but I'm not gonna give you like an actual answer.
Uh-huh.
Speaking about work, bro, talking about NPCs.
They're out there.
Oh my! Right, so we have a regular, right?
Uh-huh.
And his name, we call him Red Jacket Man.
Mm.
Red Jacket Man, if you're listening to this.
He could be.
He definitely is not. We call him Red Jacket Man because he used to wear a red jacket all the time. However, he has now changed it up and he no longer wears that red jacket.
Oh.
But this fella comes in and he talks about like there are 4 topics he will talk about. Resident Evil video games, which up until recently I don't think he ever played a single one of them.
Mm.
The fact that he has Virgin Media at home. The new thing, which is the Neo Geo, which is a very old gaming console.
The Neo Geo, never heard of it.
And the 4th thing, the price of jocks nowadays.
Price of jocks. Actually, that's a good point.
It's a good point.
That's a good talking point, to be honest. They are ridiculously expensive.
to like sum this man up.
Price of jocks.
Man, he's talking about all. Oh man, I was in there and the price of jocks. To sum this man up very like succinctly, I'm there one day, and he comes up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to return this game." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, grand. You're within, the time change of mind period." And he knows, like, "Oh, you can get a voucher." I'm like, "Cool." And he goes, puts it there, and he's like, "Yeah, no, it just wasn't what I was expecting." And I look at the case, and the case says pure chess.
Oh yeah,
It is it's just a game for playing chess. That's all this is, and it wasn't what he's expecting.
Was he joking?
No, he was dead serious. Just wasn't what he was expecting. So I was like, okay, cool, grand. And so we like do that, and then he's like, "Oh, I also want to return this." I'm like, "Yeah, cool, grand." Scan the other one. I'm like, "Okay, grand. So this one is €4, and this one is €3. So I'm gonna give you €7." And he's like, "Yeah, grand, cool." Give him the €7. He walks away. He immediately turns around and comes back, and he goes, "Nah, man, that's 9." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "It's 9." I was like, "No, it was €4 for one thing, and it's €3 for the other." And he goes, "Yeah, that's 9." And I was like, "Sorry?" He's like, "It's €9." I was like, "No, that's 7." He's like, "No, it's 9." It's like, 4 and 3 is 7. And he's like, "No, it's not." And I'm not joking. I literally pull out my hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he looks at me and goes, "Oh, yeah. And off he goes.
Oh, right, yeah.
So recently he comes in, and I think he's gone up to another CEX, and he's a menace, bro. He is a menace. If you get caught talking to him, you are stuck for the next 20 minutes listening to him.
Yeah.
He's one of these type of people. I think he went up to one of the local CXs, and he asked them about the Neo Geo and if we are getting them in. And I think they just told him yes, just to get him out.
Yeah.
So now he comes into us, and he's like, "Yeah, I was up in the other CX, and they said that you are getting the Neo Geo in soon." And so he had come in Wednesday, Thursday, and this is now Friday, right? And my coworker Megan saw him come in and goes, "I'm not dealing with him today. He's been in the past 2 days," and walked by and let me be the one, because I hadn't dealt with him yet.
Yeah.
And she had already prefaced it. She told me before, he keeps talking about the Neo Geo. So then I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, they told me, you're gonna get the Neo Geo in next month." I'm like, "Well, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I've been told that we're getting the Neo Geo." So I'm like, yeah, like, maybe. And he's like, "But you're getting them in next month, aren't you?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, we're a secondhand shop, so it kind of depends on if people bring them in." And he's like, yeah, I know that, but you're getting them in next month, are you?" It's like, again, we're a secondhand shop. If someone doesn't bring one into us, we don't have them.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, so you're getting them in next month." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe." And then, I'm not joking. I'm going to now recreate what he had said. Yeah, because I was up in the other CX, and the console's 100 and the games are 40, so that's 140 because the console's 100 and the games are 40. I'm back home. I got the Virgin Media, and the Virgin Media is class because you can watch the Neo Geo games at home. Like, yep.
But how old is this guy?
This guy's like 40.
40.
When he said the Virgin Media, my lips, like, I was like staring at him, and I did like that, like
the curling smile.
The curling smile, like, don't fucking laugh, don't laugh. And then when he's doing and you can watch the I was sitting there like, please just finish the sentence. I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Is he like
No, he seems to be fully there.
He's fully there.
Like, more or less fully
is
there.
Is he like addicted to anything?
Does
he look like he is?
I think he used to be.
He used to be, okay.
I think he used to be. He gives out that vibe.
What's his name?
I have no idea.
No one knows?
No one knows. He's a little cheeky bollocks, so he picked up one of the cases from one of the sections, came over to the counter and goes, "Yeah, I bought this over in up in the other CX, and they didn't put the game in it."
That old trick.
And so like my coworker Megan's like, "Oh yeah, Grant, do you have the receipt for it?" He's like, yeah, and he just hands her a random receipt. And it's like, "This isn't for the game." And he's like, "Oh, is it not? No." And then he hands her another receipt, which is a CX one, but it's not for the game.
Yeah.
And she's like, "This isn't the right receipt either." And he goes, "Yeah, can I get the game, please?" And she's like, "Well, unless you have the receipt, I can't give you the game." because there's no proof that you bought it.
Mm.
And he's like, but I did buy it. It's like, yeah, but you don't have the receipt, so I can't do anything for you. You're gonna have to go up to the other shop and see if they will sort it out for you.
Mm.
And he goes, oh well, I bought the game with a few other bits. It's like, okay, do you have the receipt? It's like, all right, no, never mind. And he just picks it up and walks over, puts it on the shelf, and just walks back out.
And he keeps coming in.
Oh, he keeps coming in.
Yeah.
Keeps coming in on top of the same shits.
Yeah, I don't know. You kind of characters like that. You kind of need that in like a public-facing role, because you always get the negative kind of. You get the negative people, like the haters who come in, have a go at you, or the cheeky customers and stuff. But it's good to have like a local, like a village idiot, you know, like someone to come in and just wind people up, or just shout at, just a character.
He's not even saying anything mean.
Yeah, he's just like he's just harmless enough. He's just doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's just like a character that everyone can kind of bond around.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what it is like when you see him, you're just like, well, here goes 15 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back.
Yeah. We always know people from the like your area who are kind of like that. We had a few growing up, people just random characters like that, where everyone, like, people would separately know them.
Oh yeah,
run into them.
Everyone have stories about them.
Just everyone, they'd know everybody just because they just intrude in everyone's space. And then you'd bond with random people you knew over the fact you both hated this one person.
Hate is a powerful tool for bringing people together.
Yeah. They're the glue of the community. So people like that are indispensable to Irish communities. So yeah, fair play to him. He sounds like a bit of a G.
He's a bit of a G.
Does he have a job?
I have no idea.
It doesn't sound like it.
He comes in the most random times as well.
Yeah.
We like there's another fella on the same day comes in. I am not fucking joking. When I saw this guy, he comes in wearing again, it was so incredibly warm on Saturday. This fella comes in with a hood up, a beanie on, and sunglasses. And I look at him. I see him walking in, and there's a customer standing there. And I look at him. I was like, "Oh, we're about to get robbed. There is no excuse for this otherwise." And he walks up and he goes like, "He must have been fucked." And he goes, "Phone." And my supervisor goes, "Sorry," and he was like, I wanna return this phone. And she's like, oh, okay, right, can I have a look at it? And he puts the phone down on the table and she flips it over and the back is just missing, like just smashed and missing. And it's like, oh, we can't really do anything with this. And he goes, and just picks it up and walks out.
Yeah.
And I turn to the customer and he looks at me, having seen like 2 other weirdos come in already, and he's like, how do you work here?
It's just the random side characters, you know.
Oh god, so many NPCs out there.
You got to get the interactions correct, or the freak out.
Oh yeah, like you're like juggling in my brain. I'm like,
you're seeing the nested story ahead of you. You know, like I have to pick the right choice here.
Yeah, but literally, like, you know that bit where like in Dune 2 and it's like, I see many paths and only one way forward.
Gotta play this right.
Oh god, I have to play your cards right, or else you're dead and everyone around you is dead.
Yeah. I know, that's kind of you always I kind of miss that stuff, the public facing.
Yeah, it's part of the joy of reading.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. You know, you get a good story out of it. It kind of breaks up the day as well. Yeah, you know.
It's like, whoo, you should have seen that when I just had there. See what happened. Coming into the back, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah. It's not the monotony of office work. It's just like totally different. Each day bleeds into the next.
Yeah, sanitized. Fuck it.
Let
me tell you, we're in the front line. Anything.
Yeah. Every day is a new day. You know, he's like, I could go out today and die, or like, you know, live every day like it's your last.
Literally, my very first day of retail, some fella had a seizure right in front of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is set the tone.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, just like random stuff that happens. There's like when I worked in the bars, there's like periods of like weeks or months where more happened than has happened in the last 3 or 4 years I've worked in an office, like entirely, you know, just crazy stuff. But it's just the chaos element of dealing with, like, anyone can just walk in.
Yeah, I think
anybody can just walk in.
I think it's when
there's no laws stopping them.
There's no discrimination, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not. Anybody can walk in.
I think it's like when you're working in an office and stuff like that, it's like a controlled environment. People are vetted. You're only allowed in if you've been in the, in the interview. You have to be allowed in. You're in retail. Fucking anyone could come up to you.
Any old con could just stroll in,
and they could say fucking anything. We had a fella. These 3 things happened on the same day. with the same fella that was like, holy shit, you get some fucking weirdos.
Mm.
Someone, he walks in, and like he's standing there and he's like booking in or whatever, and some random person just comes in very quickly and goes, hey you, and points at the customer, and I was like, oh, they must know each other or whatever. And he's like, that's a lovely tattoo on your neck. What does it say? And he's like, oh, it says like loyalty or whatever the fuck it said.
Yeah.
And he's like, the other fella's like, oh, nice. It's in Japanese, is it? And he goes like, no, it's in English. It's written in script. And your man goes, script? Never heard of that language. And he's like,
that's good.
No, like it's just a font. He's like, a font, is it? What type of writing is it? He goes, script. And he goes like, right, cool. And just walks out. Just walks out.
Was he
came in just to say to that guy, I don't even know how he saw this person, and just goes, nice tattoo. What language is it? Script. Never heard of it. Left.
What age was he?
30.
What the hell, like?
And this person was like again, fully. This person was like just fully normal.
Yeah.
No red flags like the fella coming
person in. With the tattoo, or the person who just came in quickly?
The person that just came in. When I saw him, I was like, oh, it's like a normal person, whatever.
Yeah,
just walking in very quickly. I was like, oh, well, I saw him walking in very quickly. I'm like, oh, this is a refund.
Just like opening the register.
I'm ready for this.
But like, yeah, like, you can't account. There's a segment of everything where you just cannot account for the chaos element. We're talking about data.
Yeah.
Talking about data science, Moneyball, Spaceball is very static. Football, they're growing. There's more and more.
Spaceball.
Spaceball, whatever it is.
You did.
Spaceball, football, foosball, it's all the same. They can account for all these different factors.
Mm-hmm.
They can kind of control. They can see the game. They can foresee the game. But there's always that element of chaos.
There's always that Jared slipping.
There's always a guy. There's always a weird guy on a hot day with sunglasses and a beanie strolling into the shop, and it's just. But it's the same where you look at like polls and stuff like that for like elections, and like statistics for like society, or like where are we gonna go, and it's always we're gonna accomplish this by this date and all that. But there's like millions of people out there who cannot be accounted for. There's pure like there's chaos in their hearts who just cannot. There's a chaos
pure entropy.
There's there's entropy in the hearts of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that kind of seed, but some people just embody it better.
Oh yeah,
and they're out there controlling the direction of society because they are so unpredictable.
I think everyone should just let their inner weirdo out more.
Yeah,
do the weird thing.
Yeah, that's
because they're like, don't do something weird that's like damaging.
Weird.
Don't do that, but do something weird enough that you will brighten someone's day up. That you will be a story for someone else to tell on a shitty podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the world would be a much better place because these are all harmless individuals as well. No one got hurt.
Let me tell you, boring ass week, Monday to Thursday. Friday to Sunday, I know something weird is going to happen.
Something strange is going to happen. Yeah. Brightens it up.
All right, we go for a break.
Let's go for a break.
And we are back from the break. And we're here talking about all that jazz. Bob Fosse, 1979. Joe Gideon is at the top of the heap, one of the most successful directors and choreographers in musical theater. But he can feel his world slowly collapsing around him. His obsession with work has almost destroyed his personal life, and only his bottles of pills keep him going. Showtime.
Showtime.
That's what he says, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So I think I prefaced this in the last one, being like, oh yeah, I've heard like all that jazz being in like the same kind of I'm a creator and it's so difficult type of vein of 8.5. And like, but also
it is, 100%.
like very different, because this thing is a straight up musical.
Yeah. Well, 8.5 had a few musical numbers.
8.5 is also like, because all that jazz is basically about Bob Fosse's life.
Yeah.
Same way that 8.5 is about Fellini's life.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Fosse definitely seems way less pretentious than Fellini.
Maybe yeah. Maybe in a more like kind of, I don't know, a more theatrical way, which is like maybe a bit more palatable.
Yeah, maybe he's theatrically pretentious.
Yeah, that's what I really got
it's
from
camp.
it's very camp. Like the whole thing is very, very camp. But yeah, it really plays into that whole. I'm so successful, and it just hurts. It's so it's so hard being so successful. All these women love me, and it's just really hard to pick which one I want to be with for the rest of my life or whatever. Which is I think is very you wouldn't get away with that these days. It doesn't happen because you get lampooned. I think there's something about that.
I think if you're gonna do that, you have to be like incredibly. You can't present yourself as. You
have to take a dump on yourself.
Yeah, which I think that's what saves all that jazz.
Yeah.
Bob Frost does not present himself as a good guy.
Yeah.
Like he presents himself as like a womanizer and all that stuff, and like, yeah, I did all this shit, but like, there's no like, I'm gonna so cool. There's no like Fellini, smoking the roll. He'd be like, I'm a fucking genius, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
But with all that jazz, there's certainly self-referential, be like, yeah, it was a piece of shit.
Yeah. It is a bit more. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit more kind of self-effacing, but still that kind of it's kind of a cringeworthy thing where it's like I was just too successful, and I was bad, but now I'm better. But I was like intoxicated by success or whatever. It's kind of a trope.
Yeah.
But it's very 80s. I feel like it's a very 80s trope. But I don't know where I get that from. I feel like it's just kind of maybe a mid-century trope or something like that. It's like one of those things. Or it's like the leading man who was a victim of his own success. It does play with a bit more nuance than like Fellini's one is a bit like I'm so cool. I'm just so successful and like my movies are like so deep and all. And
I'm
that's
so woke.
Yeah, that's his that was kind of his thing for that movie. But yeah, in this one it's like, he gets punished basically.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what saves is like, you get punished at the end.
You get shot on, yeah. But via a musical number. Which is a bit ridiculous. It's hard to take seriously. It's like he's dying, he's on his deathbed and he just starts singing.
I don't want to die.
Yeah. But again, it's very self-aware, the whole. Roy Schneider's very good. He's very, very great actor, like very good in this role.
He did this and like Jaws in like the same like 5-year spans. Like, whew.
Yeah, and Sorcerer.
Yeah,
he was playing it. He did a musical. He did a forgotten dad action movie, and he did Jaws. Like he was everywhere for a bit. He did 2010 as well. 5 years later, and he just fell off the face of the earth. He was just like he just cashed out.
Yeah,
he was like fuck that.
I mean, if I did 2010, I'd cash out.
Yeah, yeah. It makes you ask questions.
What do you think about all that jazz?
I liked it. I liked it more so the editing. I didn't really like the story. I wasn't a huge fan of the story. I found it just hard to get into that whole kind of trope setup of the tortured artist. In the way that it's kind of dealt with, where it's like he is a bad person and he does get his, he does get shot on at the end, but it is kind of like. It's like, oh, he's kind of cool. He's still kind of, for the first half of the movie, he's like, this guy's just like, he's really in the zone. Like, all these people are just like looking up to him. And yeah, maybe he's a bit, like, he's dedicated to his art, but like, he's dedicated to something higher, and he has no time for this, relationships with women, even though he's like womanizing, all that stuff. I don't know. I didn't really relate to that at all, but the editing was insane. I thought the editing, and that was kind of the selling point of the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is that this is like one of the best edited films of all time?
Yeah, like it really takes you away. It was like a musical kind of, like if you took away the music, it still feels kind of musical just to watch, just like the rhythm of the editing.
Which is sorry to interrupt. Which is funny because editing a film is also, and taking years to edit a film is literally one of the parts of this movie.
Yeah,
exactly. One of the storylines is like editing a movie.
yeah. He's like, he's being pressured to get the movie done on time. It's like constantly delayed or whatever. But no, like just like the use of montage and the lighting, just like basic stuff that is kind of lost these days, which you don't really see. Like you'd see every now and then, every 10 years, you see a movie like Whiplash or something where you're like, wow, the editing is really good in this.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the selling point of the movie. This is kind of the same thing, but like it comes from a different period where this would movies like this would just kind of happen. Rather than be like a piece, like kind of something you stick on the mantelpiece, where like, wow, like look at this editing, Like, this is just something he made as a passion piece, kind of about his life, and the editing isn't necessarily the focus of the film, even really.
No.
Like, it's just like it is and it isn't, but it's like it's just there and it's just happening, and it's not really distracting either. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, it just gets you more involved in the movie.
Yeah, because like good editing is when you don't notice it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like this film, it's such good editing that you do notice it.
Yeah, you notice it because well, for me at least, if this movie wasn't kind of cut in that kind of way, I just would have been like, this is like, I would have lost interest. Probably. I would have just found it like a very kind of like a very meh movie, like an alright movie.
Yeah.
But because I just noticed that the editing got me really into it, and like got me kind of into the flow state where I was watching. I was like really like following everything that happened because I didn't really need to do a lot between shots or between sequences to see where things were going because it was being done nearly for me. It's
that pure like image A plus image B equals image C.
Yeah.
Equals meaning C, whatever the fuck that thing is. Like it's that constant where like you have the cutbacks to the Jessica Lange stuff. And then cutting in, it's like I now have new interpretation of what's going on just straight away because you've shot back to that. Just pure like I know that like the editing is like such a big part of this movie. It's also insane because like you think about how they used to edit films, like physically cutting up a reel of film.
Yeah.
And it's like I can see why it took absolutely ages to edit films.
And
like if you made the wrong edit, I don't know how you go back and fix that.
Yeah, there's a lot of sellotape involved, I think. Yeah, was this film made like that, was it?
Yeah.
That's mad.
So, I think like digital editing only came in like the 90s.
Yeah.
I know that because we learned about this in our course. They were talking about how what they used to do for distributing films is when it came to like Ireland and stuff like that, they would physically bring the film, like a copy of the film to Ireland and cost a fucking bomb. And it wasn't until a little movie called Godzilla 1997 that they changed it, where they just sent us like a fucking PDF file, like a PDF file, but like an email being like, here you go. Only because that had a worldwide distribution, and that was the first time that they distributed it digitally, and it was way fucking cheaper than having to coordinate and get all these film reels to these locations for a worldwide release. And our fucking lecturer was there and like, anyone ever watched this movie? And I was like, I literally watched this movie 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it is shite.
It's terrible, yeah.
But it was that movie that changed like how they distributed things. But they were digitally editing things for a while beforehand. I think what they used to have to do was they would they'd shoot digitally and then print it to celluloid and then pass it along. It's like, just cut out that middle part. Why are you bothering with that?
Yeah, I suppose the infrastructure wasn't there for that at the time. But it is mad, just kind of like the physical use of media, because the songs used to be like that as well, but then you look at editing, this, like we were saying like a few minutes ago, like this, the editing in this film isn't something that you'd really see at all these days. When it really should be the other way around, considering how much labor is involved in editing something like All That Jazz compared to how much, say, labor is involved in editing something like Whiplash. Not to say that Whiplash isn't edited very well and a lot of hard work didn't go into it, but like it's a lot easier to do on a computer.
I was like,
surely.
Oh, I'm just going to undo that.
Control-Z. Exactly. Yeah, technically speaking, it's a lot easier to do it that way. So surely that should allow for more experimentation. But it seems to just be streamlined along kind of a cost sense of things, rather than the love of the medium or the just manipulation, like the actual like physically manipulating the celluloid or whatever. It probably give you more time to think about choices and stuff like that, maybe. But how did they even see, like, for example, like 3 or 4 shots in this film would happen in a second, but they'd all kind of unified to say one thing. But like, how did they see that in their heads back then if they didn't have, like, of course they would have had projectors and stuff.
Yeah, so they used to have like this big machine that had 2 screens and then a screen in the middle. And I think that like it would be, the 2 screens would show what the film reels would have, and then when you stuck them together, it would show you in the middle screen what it looks like now.
Yeah.
So I imagine with something like being able to like, oh yeah, like try that.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't as difficult to stick them back together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't an editor back in the 60s. I have no idea.
It is. It's pretty crazy though.
But yeah, like, cause you're like, yeah, again, just like we can gush about the editing, but like the music and stuff in this film, which is a massive part about it, it's good. That erotica one,
yeah.
like I like that, and then it just kept going. I was like, okay, I'm bored of this.
Yeah.
Same with the start of the movie. Like my mom wanted to watch this movie. My mom likes movies that are musicals and stuff like that. But we were watching this, and we're half an hour in. We took a pause because I needed to pee, and I was like, this is really fucking boring. She's like, yes, it is. This movie is really boring.
Yeah.
Then the next hour and a half just kind of flies by because it really picks up at that stage. But the first 30 minutes of this movie are so slow. It's because it's all like build up. I'm just not here for the build up. I'm here for the wacky fucking crazy psycho erotic shit that goes on at the end.
Yeah. Like it's the stuff at the end is kind of kind of disturbing in a good way. But yeah, at the start it's very slow. It's all like kind of lore and stuff from this guy's life. And like I wasn't really sure why, I didn't feel like any connection to the character at all. Really, I was kind of like, you can kind of see where it's going, and it's just like, yeah, I kind of get it, but it keeps going for a bit. But yeah, no, it does pick up when when he starts getting into the nitty gritty, he starts kind of falling down on himself. But it is, I think, like, it is really about the editing. Talk about the editing, but like the editing is like really just like makes the movie, really turns it into something that you like. I don't think we'd be watching this at all, without that aspect to it.
Yeah,
because the story itself just it doesn't appeal that much to me. But as an experiment, and as a kind of capstone to his career as well, like you can tell it meant a lot to him, and he really put a lot into it.
And he dies like a few years later.
Yeah.
Like Bob Fosse.
Yeah, Bob Fosse, yeah.
Rob Schneider lived for a while longer.
Rob Schneider, yeah.
Still with us.
Or didn't Bob Fosse like disappear in that jungle though?
Yeah, maybe it was him.
I don't know. But no, yeah, it's grand old movie though. Yeah, it's very interesting to watch.
Yeah,
2 hours though. Didn't need to be 2 hours. Cut out the first half an hour.
What did you hit there?
I just hit the back of the wardrobe. Cut out the first half an hour. No context.
Yeah, no context. Just go straight in. Just straight in. No kissing.
Yeah. It was just like, there's some of those shots could just maybe take them out. The editing was terrible.
Yeah, maybe you should edit this movie down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like at the end of this movie, like it is about, because like you're watching this and you're just like, yeah, things are not going well for him, and then there's that point where he goes into the hospital and you're like, oh, you're fucked. You're fucked because because like the doctors are like, you need to readjust your life, and he's just not. He's just too far gone. Doesn't really care. And it's like maybe he wants to die, and then because he's like steamrolling and barreling his way towards certain death, and then at the end he's like, oh no, I don't want to die. I've like my child, my two loves in my life, my wife and my new lover. I want to see them as like, well, you cared about them at the end. Should have thought about that before.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from this stage. And then you got that crazy number at the end, the death dream sequence and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it's a real 70s movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just that one of that period where they just made these crazy movies that were like crazy experimental and like also like mad realistic and stuff like that. It's just a good movie. Unfortunately, like I just don't have that much to say outside of like the cool lore, because I wasn't that into the movie. Like it's really good, but I wasn't that into the movie. So
yeah, I'm the same basically. Like I love the editing, but like beyond that, like the editing lore that you had there is pretty interesting. About digital editing.
Had nothing to do with that movie though, did it?
It didn't really, but it was a nice jumping off point for a few minutes. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about the movie. It's just it was a pretty good movie.
Pretty good.
Maybe a bit long. Roy Schneider, very good at what he does. Bob Fosse, rest in peace.
Seemed like a bit of a shit dude, but
well, yeah. What I learned from this movie is Bob Fosse was a piece of shit. Burn in hell.
And a terrible editor.
Yeah. Your movies are too long, man.
Way too long. will we leave it at that, Mark?
We'll leave it there, my friend.
Do you have a recommended film for
I
episode
of course,
137?
of course I do. My recommended film is... Let me just look it up so I can see. Wait. It's Walker from 1987. Directed by some guy called Alex Cox.
Alex Cox.
So yeah, Walker, 1987.
Brother of Brian.
Brother Brian Cox. God bless him. The various Brian Coxes. During the 1850s, American lawyer and journalist William Walker, along with his battalion of mercenaries, invades Nicaragua.
What's the tone there?
And becomes the nation's self-proclaimed president.
Sounds good.
It's based on a true story.
Sounds a bit like Battle of Algiers a little bit.
Yeah. Kinda, yeah. Well, it's about...
I was going to say based in South America as well. Algiers is not in South America, is
it's
it?
south. It's south anyway.
It's south.
It kind of looks like South America.
Yeah.
I forget. But it's about colonialism
Is
anyway.
Algeria south? No, Algeria's northern hemisphere still.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But for us Europeans,
Yeah,
it's south. It's south.
Especially in Ireland.
It's the southern continent.
Yeah.
Southern continent of
France is
Africa.
south. Spain is south.
France. Yeah. So yes.
America's kind of south.
New York is south.
New York is south.
To me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like it's about colonialism and stuff. It's kind of like Fitzcarraldo, but in America. So it's a true story as well. It's pretty crazy from what I've read.
Nicaragua's got some crazy history as well.
It does. It's a mad old country. Still is to this day. Daniel Ortega, mad bastard.
Mm-hmm.
They all are. But anyway, we'll do that next week.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good night. God bless.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.